talk about voice, you do roll your R's much better than I do. Could you pronounce your name, the last name with a good roll?
Did you do one of these like I told you?
Yeah, yeah, let me try it, then you'll
Vaccarezza.
do it. Vaccarezza. I got it. Close, right?
Yeah.
Bueno?
Bueno.
Bueno. Gracias. Okay. Thank you. First of all, tell us just about your role. What do you do at CVS Health? I mean, what an amazing time coming through COVID. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I lead the enterprise media team at CVS. So I've been there roughly 12 years at this point. It's been amazing. I remember, I tell folks when I'm interviewing them, when I started there, we were fundamentally a print media organization. Our service still says the print media common is where we people are still.
Right.
Couple $100 million a year in Sunday supplements, telling people what's on sale. Fast forward to where we are today. No more paper, no more print, fully functional from a digital perspective.
None of those flyers anymore.
None of those flyers anymore. We got out of that business a while back, and I think the biggest aha moment, which we knew, but we actually proved it through data, is that we were just blanketing the market and we weren't reaching the people that we wanted to reach, right? So digital gave us that ability to know it, measure it, and really be accountable for those investments.
Yeah, excellent. It's a real evolution. And how have you kind of transformed relative to COVID, and how have you engaged with consumers deeper? It must have been a crazy time, right? I mean, the shots, the lines, the organization, right?
Yeah, I think, as a purpose-driven organization, it gave us an awesome opportunity to actually live that purpose. So think about the size of the enterprise, right? We're a healthcare organization, retail pharmacy, retail clinics. The ability for the enterprise to come together at a moment of need, right? We were a business that was still open during that time. We were providing testing capabilities. We were providing immunization capabilities. The ability for everyone to come together and rally around that purpose was really amazing. I think it made us feel like as a sizable organization, we can still move quickly and be agile. That also gave us an opportunity, I think, to introduce a lot of new people to the brand, right? People were coming in for those vital services that had never stepped into a CVS before. So the experience that we provided, our ability to re-engage with those folks and keep them in the mix as we think about telling a broader story about our organization and what we do has been really important, right? So we came out of that situation as a highly trusted, I think we're the #1 trusted retailer in the country. And that's a privilege to be able to continue to do that and be able to serve our customers in that way.
And how do you tie all of that together in a media and marketing format? Because there's lots of messages, there's lots of different constituents, there's lots of products from aspirin on the shelf to shots in the arm. How do you organize that media-wise?
Well, we look at it from strong segmentation, right? And the idea of like, what's the next best action that I can encourage those audiences to take, right? So there are folks that are in the marketplace. Flu season just started. Our immunization campaigns are hot and heavy. How can we re-engage folks that got a shot with us last year to come back this year, right? So think about retargeting, think about the use of data there. Again, HIPAA regulated, yet allowable data usage in that space. Holiday season's around the corner, right? We're not a Black Friday player, but we are that in-between trip, right? For all of the small things, all the little things that you need to fill the stockings, and you forgot the postman and those things. So how do we, again, intercept folks in those moments to be able to put that relevant message in front of them?
And I got to imagine, you mentioned the data. You've got reams of data, and it's certainly kind of personal information that you really keep all your lawyers and data scientists on board and make sure everything's organized correctly and not any mistakes, right?
Yeah, blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
So there's transaction data, right, from the CRM side of the house, our Extra Care loyalty program on the front store side of the house. A lot of opportunity, lots of flexibility to use that data. As a matter of fact, it's the underpinning of our retail media network that we launched 2 years ago, right? Transaction data, engaging with our CPG partners, they fund campaigns, we put messages in front of audiences, and then because we can see the transaction, we can provide that closed loop measurement. On the other side of the house is all the medical health information. And yes, we keep a lot of lawyers and a lot of privacy folks in business on that side, But like I said, there are specific use cases, right? There's safe harbor opportunities. Immunization is a great example, which is you got a flu shot with me last year. I'm allowed to talk to you one-to-one about getting a flu shot this year. I can't talk to you about anything else because that's fundamentally the relationship I have.
Right.
But because it's a health service, I'm allowed, it's a valid use of HIPAA.
Yeah, I found when I used to check in with my doctor and ask him what shots I've had over time or whatever, it's easier to go into any CVS and they've got my whole record there.
Correct.
It's amazing. And then they sold me another shot.
That's right. We're always looking to upsell.
No, it's good. That's very, very key. And in addition, of course, to upselling, but you do this with purpose. I remember years ago, CVS basically took cigarettes off the shelf. And that was really saying we're a health organization, we're interested in your health. How is purpose-driven marketing and advertising continuing today in what you do?
Yeah, I think, purpose, right? Helping people on that journey, leading with heart, right? So we evolved our purpose just a couple of years ago to really bring that empathy, bring that human connection and that allyship into that conversation. And yes, tobacco is the most famous example of our purpose, right? It was incongruous for us to be a health and wellness organization and sell products that we know literally kill people. Big hit, but big bold move, and our customers have rewarded us for it, right? They want to shop at a place that has their own values in mind and their own best interests in mind, and we still remain to this day the only retail pharmacy that does not sell tobacco products. From there, we took a look at what was happening in women's mental health. And if you think about the imagery that's put out there from a beauty perspective, just those inconceivable, unmatchable images, and as the apex of what you should be accomplishing, it's unattainable because they're all digitally enhanced, right? So we came out with CVS's Beauty Mark, which fundamentally says we will not put an image in any of our ads, in any of our stores that has been photoshopped and digitally enhanced. It's beauty in real life. That is what women
Beauty in real life.
want to see.
That's wonderful. I love that.
And we helped an industry kind of move along those lines as well. So as we think about our beauty partners, if they want to put imagery in our ads or imagery in our stores, they have to comply with those mandates, or we tag it as digitally enhanced, so folks are aware of what they're looking at.
Good for you. That's a great quote for you doing social media today. Beauty in real life. Really, really well done. We actually had Rob Master from used to be at Unilever with us last night. Unilever has also done a lot of work of beauty in real life. Enjoying and appreciating people for what they are, which is really critical. So, and I like you mentioned about the digital and the data. As out of home is now becoming a digital medium, we're finding that we're able to target much better and show attribution. So ideally, you guys will be getting into there at some time too, which is nice. Where do you see yourself going now that the COVID, hopefully frenetic Band-Aids, kind of craziness is gone? Where do you, now you take a breath and you say, okay, we're going forward on purpose, we're going forward on customer journey. What else? Customer experience.
Yeah, like I said, it's just like we've created net new relationships with a lot of customers because of the double-edged sword of COVID. And I think as we think
You'll
about
double down on that now. Yeah.
Yeah. How do we expand that relationship, right? How do we create stories that are relevant to them, but at the same time be able to tell kind of that deeper storytelling of what we want to talk to them as a brand. But for us, purpose still drives the day. So if you think about, we just launched a new campaign just this past week. And it's really around our focus on the health and well-being of women. And how do we, again, make bold brand moves in order to support that journey, that very unique journey. So things like, dropping the price on all of our CVS brand period products by 25%. Absorbing the period tax in 12 states where we're able to do that. The pink tax, right? So think about equity in products. You're on a shelf and there's a blue razor and there's a pink razor. The pink razor costs more, it's the exact same razor. So how do we build that equity there? And then beyond the retail, how do we create other services? So Minute Clinic is providing menstrual and menopause services. Aetna is providing mental health services for women. So really kind of expanding it from an enterprise perspective. And how do we double down in an area where, you know, health equity, particularly in underserved communities and the communities that are most important to us, is really a need for us to focus and bring kind of, again, the full power of the enterprise into that space.
Do you say how you expanded your business during COVID and now you're reconnecting with the same customers? Do you look at share versus the other competitors, and do you talk about that at all?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, you know, the legacy of how you measure a business will always be there, right? We also talk share of voice on search, and I'm trying to get everyone to think about something else. Right. But yeah, I mean, we look at that as a barometer of how things are doing, but more importantly, we're doing a lot of more listening to our customers. So that's the primary barometer of what drives our business. It's are we serving them? Are we listening to them? Are we responding to them? Are we, as marketers, are we leaving that seat open at the table to make sure that their voice is heard as we're building and developing things? It's not about talking to anymore. It's about talking with, right?
Right.
And
having a dialogue.
Some of that back, of course.
I found that personally myself, where the local mom and pop farmers used to do that. And now I find CVS in particular, you go to talk to someone in the back there and they actually engage in a dialogue, which is good. How do you get the feedback in addition to the in-store feedback? Do you do it through mailings? Do you do it from social listening? We
do surveys right out of the gate. So you're fresh out of the store, we'll shoot you an email to understand kind of what your experience was. We get a lot of voluntary feedback on social media.
Is that good?
Yeah,
I know most of the voluntary could be
negative.
negative.
There's a lot of interesting stuff there, but I think what's interesting about that, it's in many cases, it's in the moment, and it allows us, as we're listening, to identify a problem that we have in a region or in a store and have the field be able to address it directly. Right. And now we have an escalation process that actually there's a communication and an outreach that happens from corporate to those folks to really understand what the issue was and how do we solve that problem.
That's very smart. We're going to have a time for a couple of questions if anybody's got anything. Let me ask you, on your online, evidently you do search quite a lot. What else do you find digitally works for you? Any particular platforms or products?
No, I mean programmatic, right? It's the word of the day, right? And I think what's interesting about programmatic for us is our ability to segment audiences, use dynamic creative to be as relevant as possible, and now the breadth of the channels that we can utilize to be able to do that, and running them all. Trade Desk is a good example, right? Running them all through a single platform allows us from a frequency management perspective to ensure that not only are we being efficient with the investments that we're making, but we're also being courteous to our customers and not killing them with messages over and over.
Right. Right, so you try to frequency cap where you can.
Frequency cap across channels. So think about targeting from an audience, from a people first perspective, as opposed to I'm just frequency capping on specific channels.
Smart. And I like hearing what you say about programmatic, because that's the huge growth area of digital out of home now.
Absolutely.
Is being able to serve ads programmatically, targeted, and then show attribution. Any questions from our audience at all? Or anything? There we go. Phil Fresson, Garros, Roland Garros. How are you? Good to see you, Phil. Phil is an investment banker for Perspective.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right.
I can't speak to you.
No questions. No.
From a business perspective, I'm curious about the Care Pass, because it looks like you're trying to shift to more of a subscription model, so kind of like an Amazon Prime. Is that the expansion behind it?
Yeah, a little bit, right?
He's got that. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. We had to think about Amazon on a couple of different levels, right? It's that customer engagement component and how do you build that relationship and that stickiness. They're also in the pharmacy business, right? And they've come out there, and I think, again, our point of differentiation there is to Barry's point, is our pharmacist, right? There's a human being on the counter there that knows you and can have an engagement and an interaction with you. But yes, CarePass is a platform as we think about how do we continue to expand and fundamentally maybe reward positive health behaviors in a way that provides a little bit of gamification, but at the same time, a little bit of value back to the customer so we can drive some retention.
Thanks.
Phil says thank you. That's great. Anybody else? One more question. Okay.
In the back.
I'm going
Way
to
in
run
the
over
back.
there. Oh, we got one over there. Well,
Way in the
all right,
back.
I'll do both quickly. I know, RJ. There we go. Thanks, RJ. Kathy, hi. And where was the question here? I'll rephrase it so we can move kind of quickly.
Oh, sure.
All right.
Barry took up all my time.
Go ahead, Barry.
Go ahead.
All right, so I was just going to ask you, maybe just speak a little bit about the experience with the DSP, just sort of, on that side of things to whatever, extent you can.
Yeah, again, I think we've moved into that direction. I think fundamentally because it opens up a lot of opportunities for us, right? As I think about relevancy of message, micro-segmentation, where can I use my first-party data? Where can I enhance that with third-party data? Again, how can I get closer to that point of relevancy? How can we use data from a triggering perspective to amplify that relevancy, right? We have a ongoing relationship with IBM, which is a great example of that, which is we are the sponsor of their flu incidence tracker. So they have, through Watson AI, the ability to look ahead and actually forecast where flu is going to be breaking out in the next 2 weeks, as opposed to where we were, which was, government data that looked back. So we were always 2 weeks behind. So that allows us to actually get out ahead of those situations at the zip code level and be able to engage folks to make sure from an immunization perspective, they're all set for what's coming.
I'm sorry, we're actually running out of time. Could it be a really quick question?
I was just asking about education. Are you using your network to educate or just for programmatic advertising?
Education in the sense of just telling folks about.
Really just what kind of messaging are you putting out?
Yep.
People are in the store, are they learning or just getting
So learning in the store.
Yeah. So it's actually a great move that we made in the last couple of years, which is we've gone away from everything fundamentally being here's what's on sale this week, as opposed to things going farther upstream and talking about the why, the why you should do the things that you should do with the services and the products, and then the connection of the why CVS as your ally, as your partner in that journey.
Fascinating business. We're going to show a video. Any plans for screens in the stores at all?
Yeah, we are. It's on the roadmap, as they say. So
Okay.
we've been piloting and testing that capability over the last year or so, seeing some positive results. So I think I would say.
Well, we'll help you with that. We have a lot of members
heard
with screens
there's
in
some
stores.
folks here that could help.
Yeah, Walmart and supermarkets and everybody. Let's roll the video on CVS after the Lamar billboard, which looks great. Isn't that great? We'll send you a copy if you feel like.
Yeah, thank you.
Here is CVS Health.
Here, our needs are taken seriously. Here, we'll never be told our concerns are all in our head.
Here, we don't think we should pay more than men for the same thing.
Or pay taxes for period products.
Here, we can ask tough questions, day or night.
Here, our health matters.
That includes our physical health and our mental health.
And sexual health, too.
Here, we can have a healthy relationship with beauty.
Here, we're actually heard.
Really heard.
And because of that, we can focus on getting healthier together.
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 Here, healthier happens together. CVS Health.
Wow, CVS, great. There you go. Thank you very much.